NHL player safety just proved their value or lack thereof once again. Welcome back, everyone. My name is Patrick. You're watching the Oilers Rundown, broadcast on the Oilers Fanatic and the Heavy Hockey Network. As you can tell from the sarcastic tone in my voice, we just got the Connor McDavid suspension news. I'm sure most of you have heard already. It echoed through oil country pretty quick there. I was listening to Stauffer's show on Oilers Now, had Frank Saravalli on there, and yeah, had my phone in my pocket. It just started vibrating, going off like crazy. Everyone wanting to tell me the news, talk about the news. Connor McDavid and Tyler Myers both receiving equal suspensions from NHL player safety. They will both be out for the next 3 games. And that is just a massive, massive joke. My prediction was they were each going to get 1. Tyler Myers, I believe, should have got more. Connor McDavid and Connor Garland were going at it. Connor McDavid was clearly provoked. Doesn't excuse him cross-checking Connor Garland in the face. He definitely should have got suspended for it, and he's getting more than I think he definitely deserves. I'm with Bob Stauffer on this, 2 at the absolute max, but he gets 3. Tyler Myers should definitely get more. I thought there might just be 1, but he should have got more than Connor McDavid for sure, at least 1 more game. Counting both those instances as equal, I think, is a massive joke. It's a joke. I don't know what else to say about it, and just like all of oil country, I'm pretty fired up about it, so I'm going to move away from the topic now, but Connor McDavid will miss the next 3 games against the Washington Capitals, Vancouver Canucks, the rematch on Thursday, and the Buffalo Sabres. But as Oilers Access points out here, the last time McDavid missed 3 games, Leon Draisaitl had 6 points in 3 games. So expect Leon Draisaitl to step up here in Connor McDavid's absence. And yeah, Thursday's rematch with the Vancouver Canucks will definitely be interesting. I'll say that much. Moving on to the other news of the day, I did put out a short on this at lunchtime, but obviously everyone should have heard the news by now as well that Derek Ryan did officially clear waivers here for the Edmonton Oilers. Daniel Nugent-Bowman notes that Derek Ryan, who cleared waivers, will be reporting to AHL Bakersfield. The door hasn't been closed on him playing for the Oilers again, but it largely depends on injuries. Head coach Chris Knobloch basically saying we won't see Derek Ryan again, probably until the playoffs, unless there are injuries that would bring him up back into the lineup. So thankful that the Oilers still have Derek Ryan. He's really valued in the locker room. He's been a great Oiler, and there was kind of talk that he might end up with the Calgary Flames, so I'm really glad that didn't happen, and Derek Ryan, who we imagine is probably going to retire after this season, can retire as an Edmonton Oiler. So really happy that Derek Ryan is sticking around. Also included in Daniel Nugent-Bowman's report from head coach Chris Knobloch, John Klingberg won't play for at least a week as he gets settled. John Klingberg did, of course, join the Edmonton Oilers for the first time on the ice. Tony Brower getting a great video here. Thank you to Tony for sharing that with us. Klingberg was skating as the 7th defenseman through the rushes this morning, and it was announced that he will be wearing number 36 for the Edmonton Oilers. Number 36, of course, last worn by now Detroit Red Wing Jack Campbell. And here's a look how the Oilers' lines and pairings looked at Monday's practice, but of course you see Connor McDavid there on the top line, and we will not see him for the next 3 games. So Kasperi Kapanen was the extra forward, so I imagine Kapanen draws in there somewhere, and maybe Nuge moves to center, or maybe Skinner moves up. We'll see what happens here, but for this morning they had Nuge, McDavid, Hyman, Podkolzin, Draisaitl, Arvidsson, Skinner, Henrique, and Brown, Janmark, Philp, and Perry, and Kapanen as the extra forward there, like I said. Ekholm and Bouchard, Nurse and Stetcher, Kulak and Emberson, and John Klingberg was skating as the 7th defenseman with Stuart Skinner in the starter's net for tomorrow against the Washington Capitals. Going back to John Klingberg, Sports 1440's Jason Greger reported the following. Klingberg was very upfront about his last few seasons. He said he struggled defending and wants to show he can play like he did prior. He said his hip issues limited his mobility, and he said it was mainly without the puck. Because he couldn't react as quickly as he used to, he'd back off and give up too much space, which led to easy zone entries and forwards having more time with the puck. He said his motion is better now than ever. He is confident he can get back to the high level he played at. He's skated for the past 6 months and feels Edmonton's style of play will fit well with his game. So obviously great to hear on John Klingberg, and the word is he'll be out for at least another week, possibly returning maybe on January 27th against the Seattle Kraken or the 30th against Detroit. Going into February, they take on the Leafs on the 1st, St. Louis on the 4th, Chicago on the 5th, and then close out before the Four Nations on the 7th against Colorado. John Klingberg did point out that he wants to play before the Four Nations, and I'm sure the Oilers want to get him in there as well before too. So I'm thinking we should see him by February 1st against Toronto at the latest. But anyway, guys, I think that's all I have for now. Some frustrating news on Connor McDavid, suspended for the next 3 games. Some great news on Derek Ryan clearing waivers. He can retire an Edmonton Oiler. He'll head to Bakersfield for the time being, but he likely hasn't played his last game as an Edmonton Oiler. I imagine we probably at least still see him in the Stanley Cup playoffs. And yeah, we'll see when we get to finally check out the new Edmonton Oiler, John Klingberg. Hopefully, like I said, by February 1st against Toronto, if not sooner. So let me know your thoughts on everything, guys. I'm sure there's some heated comments coming my way. Leave those comments in the comments section below. If this is your first visit to the channel and you like what you see, please consider liking and subscribing for all the latest Oilers content. You've been watching the Oilers Fanatic. Thanks for being a fan.